Welcome to another bar walkthrough video from SuperfastCPA. I'm Logan, and in today's video, we're going to be going over two topics in the bar area 3. This is in section A5 and section A6. Remembering and understanding, recall the disclosure requirements for significant accounting policies, infrastructure and capital assets, and long-term liabilities in the notes to the basic financial statements of the state and local governments. And the other topic is remembering and understanding, recall the objectives and components of management's discussion and analysis in the annual comprehensive financial report for state and local governments. So we're going to be covering both of those things, the notes and the management discussion and analysis. These aren't super huge topics in the blueprint from what I could tell. So in today's video, we're combining them and we're going to be learning about them the SuperfastCPA way, which is diving straight into the questions to learn the material. Now, if you don't know much about our strategies, make sure you go to SuperfastCPA.com and sign up for our free 1-hour webinar training. In that 1 hour, we will teach you the key ingredients to passing the CPA exam so you don't waste months or even years of your time failing exams. And then after you watch that, you're going to want to learn more, so make sure you also check out becoming a SuperfastCPA Pro member. Pro members get access to the member versions of these videos. Now, to be honest, in today's video, we're only going to be going over 5 questions, and that is also going to be the amount of questions we go over for the member version. But normally, when it's a topic that's not so small, we do have the member versions that are 10 questions long, so they get a little bit more help and a little bit more understanding if they're pro members. So if you like this and you like our other videos, make sure you check out becoming a SuperfastCPA Pro member to get access to those full versions of the videos, even though in today's case, it's going to be 5 questions for YouTube and 5 questions for members, but normally 10 questions for members. Now with all that, let's dive straight into the questions for these two topics. All right, here we are at question 1. Which of the following statements best describes the purpose of management's discussion and analysis, or MD&A, you've probably heard that before, in a state or local government's annual comprehensive financial report, or the ACFR? So is it to provide a brief, easily readable overview and analysis of the government's financial activities based on currently known facts and conditions? Is it to serve as an audit opinion on the government's financial statements and internal controls? Is it to provide extensive disclosure of accounting policies and assumptions used in preparing the financial statements? Or is it to present supplementary schedules for major funds and component units? So which one of them best describes the purpose of the MD&A in the government financial statements or the comprehensive financial report? So if you have an idea or if you want to give this a guess, that's great. If not, that's okay. We're going to use this explanation to learn. So let's go ahead and go to the answer. All right, here we are at the answer. A, to provide a brief, easily readable overview and analysis of the government's financial activities based on currently known facts and conditions. So that's the general idea behind the MD&A for government financials. Let's go through this. MD&A, or Management Discussion and Analysis, is required supplementary information. So RSI is required supplementary information that introduces the financials in plain language. It highlights financial position and results, reasons for significant changes from the prior year, and summarizes significant capital asset and debt or long-term liability activity. If the government uses the modified approach for eligible infrastructure, the MD&A should reference the condition assessments at a high level and preservation spending trends, with the detailed schedules presented as required supplementary information. It does not provide the detailed notes to the financial statements, nor does it serve as an auditor's opinion. Instead, its goal is accessibility, helping readers understand the financials without requiring technical expertise. So the management's discussion analysis is there as a required piece of the supplementary information to highlight certain things so that people can understand them. Highlight the financial position, the changes that happened, the capital asset and debt activity. It even talks a little bit about the modified approach for infrastructure and things like that. Again, this is a required supplementary information or piece of it, and it's just there to make sure that people can understand kind of at a high level what's going on with the government in this case. Now with that, let's go to the next question. All right, here we are at question 2. Where should the MD&A be presented in relation to the basic financial statements of a state or local government? So we learned about it in the previous question, but where is it going to be presented? How does it fit in? Is it included with the notes to the financial statements? Is it before the basic financial statements? Is it after all the other required supplementary information? Or is it within the statistical section of the ACFR? So if you want to give this a guess, or if you kind of already know, that's great. If not, let's go ahead and take a look at the explanation together. Okay, here we are at the answer B, before the basic financial statements. The MD&A is presented separately before the basic financial statements. This positioning underscores its role as an overview and guide to help users interpret the financial data that follows. So again, it's kind of an overview, a high level, so that people kind of have an idea of what is in the rest of the financials. By contrast, other required supplementary information like pension or budgetary schedules comes after the basic financial statements. The statistical section, which provides historical trend data, is distinct from required supplementary information and is not where the MD&A is placed. So again, we're learning there that the MD&A, as far as supplementary information goes, compared to the rest of the supplementary information, it actually goes before the financial statements, because again, it's kind of an overview of what is in the financial statements. Now with that, let's go to the next question. All right, here we are at question 3. Which of the following topics is not required to be addressed in the MD&A? Is it an overview of the government's financial statements? Is it an analysis of significant capital asset and long-term financing activities? Is it a detailed listing of all accounting policies used in preparing the financial statements? Or is it currently known facts, decisions, or conditions expected to impact future results? So which one of these, again, is not required to be addressed in the MD&A? If you have been paying attention, you might already have an idea out of, maybe 2 of them seem correct, or maybe 2 of them seem kind of incorrect. Think about this and maybe pause the video to think about it. And when you're ready, come back, we'll look at the answer together. All right, here we are at the answer. C, a detailed listing of all accounting policies used in preparing the financial statements. So that would be something that's not required to be addressed. And again, this kind of fits in with what we've learned so far, but this is just expanding on it a little bit. Disclosures of accounting policies is made in the notes to the financial statements, not the MD&A, and we'll talk a little bit about the notes in the next couple questions. The MD&A is intended to be concise and focused on analysis, not technical detail. Required MD&A topics include an overview of the financials, financial highlights and analysis, and significant capital asset and debt activity, and known facts or decisions that could affect the government's future financial position. So those are the kind of things that are going to be in the management's discussion and analysis. So with that, we learned a little bit more. Now let's go to the next question. All right, here we are at question 4. Which of the following statements about note disclosures in governmental financial reporting is true? Is it A, they are optional when MD&A provides the same information? Is it B, they include disclosures related to required supplementary information? Is it C, they only apply to major funds, not non-major funds or component units? Or is it that they may be identical in form and content to disclosures prepared for commercial enterprises? Okay, so which one of these is true? If you don't know how the notes to the governmental financial statements work, that's okay. We're going to learn through the explanation, but if you want to give this a guess, that's great. And when you're ready, come back, we'll look at the answer together. All right, here we are at the answer. D, they may be identical in form and content to disclosures prepared for commercial enterprises. They don't have to be, but it's possible for them to be very similar. Note disclosures for state and local governments are often extensive and may resemble those provided by commercial enterprises, especially when dealing with common accounting policies. However, they must also cover governmental specifics such as capital assets, long-term liabilities, and fund level disclosures. So they can be very similar to normal financials when it comes to the notes. Importantly, notes must cover governmental activities, business type activities, major funds, non-major funds in aggregate, and discretely presented component units. So those are the things that they do have to be covered in the notes for the government financial statements. They do not include disclosures related to required supplementary information, and they are never optional. So again, notes are not the same thing as required supplementary information. They're not the same thing as MD&A, and they aren't optional. You do have to have notes to the financial statements, and as we talked about, they do have to have specific things in there that are covered when it comes to the governmental notes. They have to cover, again, the governmental activities, the business type activities, the major funds, the non-major funds in aggregate, like all together, and discretely presented component units. Those are the kind of things that have to be presented in the notes. And again, these are separate or different from the required supplementary information. Now with that, let's go to the next question. All right, here we are at question 5. Which of the following items would most likely be disclosed in the notes to the financial statements of a city? So would it be an overview of the financial statements and results of operations? Would it be a description of the government's significant accounting policies? Would it be the currently known facts and conditions expected to impact the future? Or would it be a narrative summary of financial highlights? So which one of these would be disclosed in the notes? Think about this. Think about what we've learned so far. I think you could probably guess, or you might already know the answer. And when you're ready, come back. We'll look at the answer together. All right, here we are at the answer. B, a description of the government's significant accounting policies. So that would be something that would be in the notes, but the other things would probably be more likely in the MD&A. The notes to the financial statements are where governments disclose significant accounting policies, details about capital assets, long-term liabilities, and other information that provides context to the financials. By contrast, an overview of financials, currently known facts, and financial highlights are included in the MD&A, not in the notes. So again, throughout this video, we've seen the difference between notes and the MD&A, what goes in the MD&A, what goes in the notes. And this is very basic, basic overview of what you need to know for these 2 topics. Now with that, we've done 5 questions to learn these basic ideas. Before we do anything else, let's do one more part of the SuperfastCPA process called pillar topics. Now, the idea behind pillar topics is as you're going through the questions to learn the material, you will notice the things that keep popping up in the questions. You've seen 2 or 3 questions trying to teach you about what goes into the management's discussion and analysis, or what is required in the notes, or whatever the case is. Again, you notice these things throughout the questions, and so you write them out in your own words as the most important things, the pillar topics of what you learned. And as you're doing this each day, you are building your own personal repository of the most important things you need to know for the exams so that you're ready for the exam. So let's go ahead and take a look at the pillar topics for this video. All right, here we are at the pillar topics. Again, this is basically just the key points, summary of the most important things we learned. First off, what's the purpose of the MD&A? It provides a brief, objective overview of the government's financial activities based on currently known facts, conditions, and decisions. Where does it go? It is required supplementary information that must be presented separately before the basic financial statements. And what is in the MD&A? Again, this is kind of similar to the purpose. It includes an overview of the financials, financial highlights, analysis of capital assets and long-term liabilities, and currently known facts affecting future results. Now let's compare that to the notes. These are part of the basic financial statements. They disclose significant accounting policies, capital assets, long-term liabilities, and information for governmental, business type, major, and non-major funds, plus component units. So the notes covers different things than the MD&A, and they are actually part of the financial statements, whereas the MD&A is a piece of required supplementary information that is before the financials. So kind of summarizing this, MD&A versus the notes, the MD&A is narrative and analytical. The notes are detailed, technical, and may resemble those used by commercial enterprises but are tailored for governmental reporting. Now with that, we've gone over everything we need to go over in this video. Again, we're covering 2 of the blueprint topics, but they're pretty small topics, so I felt like 5 questions was enough for the YouTube version, and it is also 5 questions for the member version. Remember, SuperfastCPA Pro members typically get access to the full 10-question versions of these videos when it's a topic that's a little bit more robust, a little bit more full. If you like this, make sure you check out becoming a SuperfastCPA Pro member to get access to the full versions of these multiple choice question walkthrough videos. And the easiest way to do that is by going to SuperfastCPA.com and signing up for our free 1-hour webinar training. In that 1 hour, we will teach you the key ingredients to passing the CPA exam so you don't waste months or even years of your time failing exams. And then after you watch that, that's where you'll have a better path to learning about and becoming a SuperfastCPA Pro member to get all of the awesome benefits that come with being a pro member. So check out the webinar, check out becoming a pro member. If you liked the video, make sure to like it and leave a comment. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video.